Hi, and welcome to our discussion about the environment in the differentiated instruction classroom. We're going to talk about the neuroscience behind why setting a really vibrant, resource-filled classroom is best for your students, and also some specific ways that you can implement this type of environment in your classroom. I started off with a really funny Far Side comic there because just as that scientist is undoubtedly going to be rattled by a loud popping noise while working on a missile, similar stressful input really does a number on how students learn. Now, just as Maslow's hierarchy indicates, student needs must be met in order for higher level thinking to occur. And by needs, I mean security, safety, basic things like that. They need to feel safe and they need to feel comfortable. Now, that's due in part to the neurochemicals released during stress. A negative environment stimulates the release of cortisol, while a positive environment triggers the release of endorphins. Now, the stress induced by cortisol makes learning nearly impossible. It'd be like walking out of a horror movie and then trying to finish a crossword puzzle. It's just not going to happen. But the positive feelings generated by endorphins can really help students get some serious awards out of work and sustain them through the learning process. And that really gets into our next point, how students really need to feel challenged. We need, as teachers, to go beyond the teach and absorb rote learning that you see often in a lot of classes really geared towards standardized tests, or at least passing them. Now, an environment, as we've seen, can significantly impact how kids learn, for good or for bad. So let's talk about how we can apply these ideas in the context of an English classroom. First, a great idea is to set expectations for class activities and discussions from the first day. Laying out the ground rules can really make students feel secure. And in terms of classroom resources, I've got several suggestions. I recommend using journals, writing exercises, and discussions to really sift out any safety, security issues they have in home and make your class a comfortable place for students to talk about that part of their lives. And it's an idea we'll get back to journal writing later on in these videos. I also recommend keeping assignments online, letting students download and upload them through the website. And also, in terms of concrete resources to increase student comfort and engagement, you've got a lot of options. Now, it's very easy to include work that only tangentially accommodates and accomplishes your learning goals. Okay, so it's really important that your classroom's materials reflect the projects and essential questions of your units. As we're going to see as we go through these different topics, it's simply not enough to institute differentiated instruction in one aspect. Because just as a proper environment can allow for students to be managed properly, it can allow for resources to really supplement your curriculum, we're going to see even more ties in between environment, curriculum, and the rest. But in terms of classroom resources, I strongly recommend having highlighted text and books on tape for students that might be struggling, as well as scholarly articles on texts, like maybe articles or books on art, music, culture. And as well, I would ask that you check out your administration and ask if you have any English language learning students. That way you can provide resources like books or artwork or anything accordingly that you can bring in. So I want to pause here and reflect on an article I found very helpful by Larry Ferlazzo. When he's talking about the importance of a positive classroom environment, he cites similar scientific research that I did in terms of neuroscience, but he shows that his studies show that feelings can enhance student attention, higher order thinking skills, as well as encouraging perseverance. That's an interesting wrinkle. And what I want you to think about is, why do you think encouraging perseverance is such a critical trait of the differentiated classroom? Why isn't it simply enough for a teacher just to make a fun, comfortable atmosphere? Students seem to be able to learn if they feel comfortable. Why not have a fun atmosphere in a vacuum? Additionally, why encourage perseverance as a critical trait of the differentiated classroom? All right, reflect on that. And up next, we're going to talk about curriculum.